Pam Aguilar, my favorite labor boss. Pam's just great, and what I've said for everyone else holds true for Pam. We all know of her conviction and her caring for all working people and working families, and Pam, I'll take a hug from you any day. Lonnie Hancock. Lonnie Hancock has this great facial expression. Excuse me if I say this in front of Tom, her husband. There's a moment when I know that I can get this little gleeful look from Lonnie, whether it's in session or in other points, when I go over and suggest something that's very progressive, very liberal, it's going to cause some trouble. And she gets these little crow's feet right here, this little glimmer, and she's like, oh boy, when do we start? She is going to be so much fun for she and I to represent the East Bay in the state Senate starting in 2009. Daryl Steinberg, thank you for coming down from Sacramento. A lot of us who have been involved with mental health issues over the years, Kathy, and I forgot to introduce, we always forget something. Kathy McLaughlin from the Martinez School District and a member of the Contra Costa Mental Health Commission. I did that deliberately to hook you into all this, Kathy. But Daryl Steinberg, when we were fighting to get sustainable funds for those people who are most vulnerable in our community, homeless people, people who have mental health issues, for those of us who have fought for them and over the stigma that our culture too often has placed on them, this man went out and got a ballot initiative passed that increased the tax of the top 5% of the people in California. It won overwhelmingly, and now we have sustainable funding for mental health programs that can make a difference, and that man should be Have I forgotten anyone? There was a guy, what was his name? Torkelson? We have a joke between our staffs, which are really the same, and I want to really take a second. Craig and Gloria, everyone from Tom Torlickson's staff who also have served this county so well over the years, just stand up, raise your hand. I have this little corny joke. Tom talked about bad puns and corny jokes, but I don't know why people mispronounce his name. I understand why people can call me DeSaulnier or DeSaulnier or whatever, but how people can get Torlickson wrong is an amazing thing to me. But the one thing you can't get wrong about Tom Torlickson is his absolute passion, conviction, and caring that could only come from somebody who began his life as a teacher. Tom, no one has a better friend than I do in you, as a partner in the legislature, but also as a partner in serving our community. And I think, and I hope you do too, that he's going to make one hell of an assembly. I don't think I'd forget him more than, believe me. Tom, but more than importantly than that is Tom is also going to be what we believe is the first statewide elected Contra Costan, when in 2010 he replaces Jack O'Connell as a superintendent of education. Okay, I'm almost done with the thank yous, but I have an incredible opportunity this evening. I have the microphone and Jim Kellogg does not. So for those of you who wondered who the MC was, let me tell you about Jim Kellogg. Jim Kellogg has been a great friend to many of us. He's certainly been a great friend to me. I even had him be a bartender at a fundraiser some time ago, and you'll notice he's not behind the bar this evening. He's an incredible person. We tend to hear of him in terms of his position of power, but Jim is not about power. Jim is about people. He cares deeply about people, about his members. It comes from experience watching his father and his uncle work as a steam fitter and a pipe trades member. He cares about those people, the people who serve. And this building, to Jay Williams, to Mike, to Steve, to everybody who hosted this, thank you again for doing it. Thank you for doing what you do. 5 days a week, young men and women come through those doors to go upstairs and be trained in the apprenticeship program so that they're the best at what they do in the world, and we appreciate what you do. Jim Kellogg, who learned his skills out of this local and went on to the position of leadership nationally at a state level. The first appointee by then Governor Gray Davis when they appointed him to the California Transportation Commission. He was the chair of the California Transportation Commission, and now he's the chair and was reappointed by Governor Schwarzenegger of what his true love is, the Fish and Game Commission of California. So thanks, Jim. Thanks for your friendship. Thanks for everything you do. Okay, with all of those good things said about me and all the thanks, we don't have much time left, so let me tell you that, and I speak, I think, for everyone who's run for office, what a wonderful but mixed feeling you have, because I look out at this audience and I see so many good friends and so many incredible people. And at once you're filled with excitement about the possibility of working together, but also you want to make sure, as an elected official, which is a real challenge in this community, to live up to you as constituents. And it's no small feat to do that. But thank you, because you give us all the power that we have. It's always sort of interesting, I think, in a moment like this, where for me and for us and those who will be involved in the next elections, and mine and others, to reflect back for a moment. And I was talking to my two sons today, and unfortunately they aren't able to be here. One of them is in school, the other one is at work. But I was talking about just how unusual life is, and life has a way of taking you where it wishes to, for all of us. Many years ago, on a day not unlike this, I was growing up in Massachusetts, as many of you know, and I was to be paid $100 to drive a VW Bug with carbon footprint, even in 1974, across country from Providence, Rhode Island to Los Angeles, California. I had an older brother, not Ted, but another who lived in Palm Springs at the time, but he was not going to be home when I arrived. And I'll always remember the drive, of course, going across this great country for the first time at 22 years old. But when I got to Los Angeles, I delivered the car, and as usual, as those of you who know me, I was pretty good on the preparation for the journey, but not so good for the preparation for the destination. So I delivered the car and figured Los Angeles can't be that much different from New York or Boston, right? I should be able to just get mass transit and get to the Greyhound station and get to Palm Springs. How hard could it be? I could probably walk. So, and also being a good male, I failed to ask for directions after I got my $125. So I walked out and I stopped at a map. It was about mid-Wilshire, had to get downtown. And when I'm looking at that map, realizing how lost I am, a man came up in his pickup truck, an African-American gentleman. He said, "You look like you're lost." And I looked at him, and I remember this very clearly, 35 years almost later. Well, I think in order to be lost, you have to have some idea where you are in the first place. And other than being in the City of Angels, I don't know. And that gentleman, and unfortunately his name is forgotten, but his memory stays with me all the time, spent the next 8 hours, he said, "I'll take you to Greyhound, I gotta run some errands." Well, he took me to his grandmother's house, his mother's house, took me to the Watts Towers, and then he took me to where the Watts riot started and told me quite passionately about what happened and why it happened. And then I went, he dropped me off, and I've always thought that that was the first Californian I spent any time with.